on feet. Vivobarefoot. So I'm just doing a nice gingerly walk. Rained a lot yesterday, but this particular part of the forest is all sugar sand. Something just stung me. I feel like it stung me. So the water soaks in pretty quick. So I went out a little over 5 kilometers, about 5.25. And now I'm going back. I came out on a mountain bike trail and then met up with the Florida National Scenic Trail, which is what I'm on now. And then I'm just gonna take this all the way back. It'll overlap for a little portion, and then I'll be on a different part coming back after the, see, we're in orange right now. The mountain bike trails are a yellow diamond, plastic yellow diamond. And then I think that there's some white markers at some point, but that gets to be a pretty lengthy loop. There is a I think it's like 33K loop. So if you start at the trailhead and go, I guess it would be clockwise on yellow, you can take it all the way out until it meets back up with orange, and then you take orange back, and that is I think right around 32, between 32 and 33 kilometers. Oh, someone dumped the couch. But it's hot and humid. It's July 3rd. Heart rate's 107. Been at it for hour 9. I just wanted to get these shoes on my feet and put a couple hours on them without too much stress. So I brought my phone. That keeps me honest. That keeps me from running because my phone gets too hot. And so I will be walking, even though I kind of want to run right now. I knew that would happen. So these shoes are a lot wider. I'm used to, I've been running in the Hapunas from Ocala just because they're a little bit flatter than what I'm used to running in. But I'm used to running in like the Rincons if I'm doing asphalt or gravel, or just a mixture where there's, some roads. I'll wear the not the Rincons. Well, the Rincons are good for hot weather, and that have like a real light upper with a pretty fairly plush sole, but the upper is like a mesh. The Cliftons are the ones that I'll use on the street. Sorry, mostly the Rincons are good for races. But I've been mostly running in the Speed Goats. I haven't got any of the Speed Goat 5s. That's where I was at. I was putting a lot of miles on. I've got like maybe 3 pairs of Speed Goat 4s that I routinely rotate. And they all have probably 500 miles on them. maybe not 500, 300. I just heard some voices. That's rare. And it came from the left, which the trail doesn't go to the left. I'm coming up on a hill, believe it or not, even though I'm in Florida. You can see it in front of me. So and there's the trail. Right there. That's the sand. See how high it is? Gotta love elevation in Florida. I don't know what those voices were. I don't know. But again, we're just on a little gingerly stroll. I was on this has been a tough year for me. I spent until I think it was the beginning of May, either the beginning of May or somewhere toward the end of April was my first run of the year 2022 because of an injury or an infection. Actually, it wasn't even an injury. I don't know how it happened. I just got an infection. And then I was, kind of getting into the swing of things, running, slower and shorter distances. But like 2 weeks ago, this is a stinging nettle, by the way. You do not want to pick that flower. So 2 weeks ago, I ran Monday through Friday. Probably about maybe 40 kilometers. Not quite a 10K every single time I ran. And then I was going to be busy on Saturday and Sunday. Something happened. I went surfing on Sunday. And now when I woke up on Monday, my left shoulder was in really bad shape. So to the point where I had to wear a sling that whole week, which was the week before this last week. And then this past week right now, I still have to sleep on my back because my shoulder's in so much pain. I gotta sleep on my back, like with my arm in one position. So it kind of threw a damper in the momentum that I had. I was going to do a half marathon. Usually I try to do a half marathon toward the end of the month. So I'd planned on doing in June a half marathon that last week. I usually just come out here, actually. It's a good spot to do a half marathon because you can just go out. That's the hill we just climbed. We're almost up to the top. You can go out about like not even 11 kilometers and then just turn around and come back. So there was nobody at the trailhead when I parked, and I haven't seen any foot traffic. Seen some old trails from some old tracks from yesterday. That one right there. That's a 24-hour track. So other than that track and one track coming the other direction ahead of me, a couple motorcycle tracks. That's been it. I saw a deer and two fawns, one really small and one a little bit bigger. And some kind of hawk. Other than that, it's been quiet. So I do feel, again, back to these shoes, my foot has a lot more movement in the toe box. So these are size 12s and they fit good. They're the right size. I was a little worried about that too. That's the other thing, when you switch to a new shoe, you might not be wearing the same size. Just like Hoka One One or even Nike. I always wear size 12. And they're real consistent in their sizing. Except for Air Force Ones. Air Force Ones run big. So if you ever get some Air Force Ones from Nike, you probably want to get a size or a half size smaller. And also Puma suedes, which is pretty much what I wear every day. Got my blue suede shoes on every day to work. Blue Pumas. Peacoat blue. And those are pretty flat. And to be honest with you, I've done a lot of barefoot running. It's just been on the beach. You know, when we were living in Hawaii up until 2018, and I was exclusively running on the beach. I didn't do any trail running. I did some trail hiking. Well, you don't run the trails in Hawaii. I mean, because rarely is there like a nice brief moment of flat ground like this. You're usually either climbing up or climbing down. It is not conducive to a nice gingerly run, which is what I'm partial to. So I did a lot of running on the beach and just did a lot of walking around in slippers or even barefoot. You know, the kids would forget to bring shoes all the time. We'd go to the grocery store, Costco or something, and the kids wouldn't have their shoes. So we had to learn our lesson and make sure that they grab shoes. And still to this day, sometimes they'll walk out of the house without shoes and be like, oh shit, what am I doing? But since we've been back, I've been running in nice plush trail shoes. And I remember the first time I put on some Hoka One One Speedgoat 4s, or there's the Speedgoat 3s. How damn plush they were. And they sit you up about 1.5 inches higher. But so there's been a couple motorcycles running around. They're to the east of me. No, they're to the west of me. So we're going south right now. So we got south, east, west, and behind me is north. Most of this part of the forest, this is the southern part of the Ocala National Forest. I was born in Ocala. Most of this is pine forest. Here's one of the bike trails. See it coming through here. So if you know these bike trails, you can mix it up a little bit, but you gotta be really keen on your sense of direction. Because you can get turned around really easy. Those are those voices I heard. They had their motorcycles turned off and were talking. This is an area that converges with a lot of trails. There's one. And there's the other one. So you didn't see me. But you come up and turn around. Oh, she's on a side-by-side. That's cool. I come and bring my truck out here every once in a while because there's some nice steep spots through here. But eventually they're going to have to turn around and come back, I think. Because I think that runs into a private property, gated property. But there's some little sand pits, just small little sand pits around here. We can kind of just swoop down, come back up, fly around. And oh, by the way, my shoulders, I'm just getting to where I can lift my arm up. It's been my left hand too, and I'm left-handed. So see, they're at the end now. They're like, oh shit, we gotta turn around. Can't go any further. Over here I'm idling. So I'm hoping, like this week I ran 1 day, one or 2 days. No, I didn't run. No, I just been walking. So I haven't run since the shoulder injury. I had to think about that for a minute. I just been walking. So this is high ground up here. We're almost coming up to the top of this little hill. There's been a couple down trees too that haven't been cleaned up. Mostly pine trees and scrub oaks. Makes up 90% of the landscape around here. I've been breaking a lot of spider webs. It's one thing you can't see on the video. That one back there I must have somehow missed on the way out. I just broke another spider web. Now we're coming down the back side of this small little hill. I don't see any movement. It's quiet. Still working up a sweat. This is hot, muggy. It's real muggy. Oh, they're coming back. We're too far down this hill to be able to see them. So other than those 3 individuals, there was 2 people on a side-by-side and a kid on a motorcycle. It's been quiet. Let's see, what time is it? (9:46). So there's, if you use Strava, there's some nice records to try to beat out here, this part of the forest. I don't know if anyone's done the entire yellow trail running it. That would be interesting to do. And you could do it both ways. You could do it clockwise and counterclockwise. But there's a out and back segment that is flying through this forest. So there are some people that come out here and run. like I do. But I would say that I'm probably one of the more consistent runners in Central Florida on pretty much all the trails. I haven't been on this one in a while because I've been going to Ocala, because Ocala, you can jump in the spring. It's the other trail the motorcycles are using. That one looks fun. It goes up through there. I wouldn't mind running on that trail. Yeah, it's just nice to go to Ocala. They've got a big gopher hole. They have a, I think it's a in between 13 and 14 mile loop. So that's always nice if you want to go and, you know, run for a couple hours, 2-3 hours, wherever it takes you to go 13, 14 miles in the forest. And then they've got a series of hiking trails that loop around and intersect with one another, and they've got a nice east-west trail that bisects three different north-south hiking trails, but it also bisects at least 2 horse trails. They're all color-coded. And then you park at the springs, and then you end up back at the springs and you jump in the water and relaxes the muscles. And of course, the water in the springs is connected with everything, you know, it goes underneath the state, runs all over. So you're kind of tapping into like a nice little energetic network. So I don't come out here as much. And in the summer, this trail right here, I mean, we're close to the trailhead, you know, so it's not a big deal. But once you get, because I think from this trailhead to the next trailhead is, I would say probably 15 miles. And once you get toward the edge of that, toward the middle of that, you know, about 8 miles in, oh man, it's so overgrown. That whole middle section is real overgrown to where you're literally like wading through, you know, like the trail goes through there. That's how it's like. So in the summer, especially when it's raining a lot, it can be a challenge to hike in this part of the forest. And it's so freaking god-awful hot. Like I said, it's July 3rd. Oh, I tripped over that root. I was like, what did I just trip over? Probably a little root just sticking straight up, like it used to be a tree there. So these shoes, I definitely feel everything a lot more. I'm sure my feet are going to be sore. By the time I'm finished, it'll be right around 2 hours. About 3 kilometers to go. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to come out here and just get my feet hot, and my ankles have been swollen anyways. Like I said, I had picked up the tempo and was running 4 days a week, which ideally I'm running 7 or maybe 5 or 6. But, you know, for me, I'd like to be able to run every day. And then I went to nothing, you know, like my shoulders just, I couldn't do anything. I mean, it hurt to sit up and stand up and get up out of a chair. Getting in and out of the car was like, it was just really painful to do any kind of movement. Oh, look at this animal trail. So my body's just like, what the hell? What the hell's going on? And I've been trying unsuccessfully to fast for like the past week. You know, I've been having like one meal a day, and then in that, you know, couple hour time frame, just kind of binge eating. But for like, I'd say the past 4 days, I've just had one meal a day. Not that much, mostly sugar. So I think there's a combination of cravings that come from, you know, both you and any kind of parasites that you have. And then there's I feel like there's a transmutation process going on that requires sugar for crystallization, because it's been like a really unnatural craving for sugar that I've had lately. Like, I don't want to eat, like if I eat anything, I would just want to eat some cookies. Like, I could go all day and not eat anything and then just want some cookies. And it's never been like that. Oh, I'm glad that thing didn't fall on my head. A squirrel up there probably eating that thing. That would have hurt. So, yeah, my ankles are swollen. My feet are sore. My hips are doing okay, but they were a little sore when we got started. And of course, my left shoulder's just been agonizing pain. But other than that, I'm in high spirits. Out in the forest by myself, and Vivobarefoots instead of just barefoot. Somebody's got a sick setup over here. See their pole barn. Property connects to the national forest. That road that those kids were on runs into that property. It's not the main gate that they use, but it runs into one of the gates for their property. You can see the power line back through here. So once we get close to that power line, that's not the same one, but eventually we'll have a power line off the same grid to our right, and it will come through here. Once you see that power line, you're close to the trailhead. I'm still probably almost 2.6 kilometers off if I timed it right. I had to go back to the car after leaving because I wanted to bring this, but it just gets too hot. It's like a oven, so you can't keep your phone in there for too long. Even just walking, the phone gets to be like 120 degrees. So yeah, I like these shoes. I will, I think that tomorrow I'll run. Tomorrow's July 4th, so another morning of not having any commitments. When you have 4 kids, that's a blessing. Of course, 2 of our kids they're both driving. One will be 19 after the summer, and the other one just turned 15. So they kind of take care of themselves. But since we got another day off, I'll probably go run. Of course, we could always go to the beach too. Wouldn't mind going to the beach. Hell, I wouldn't mind going to the beach today. Jump in the water a little bit. I take it easy with my shoulder. I'm notorious for overdoing it and not giving myself enough time to heal. This is another road that runs into that property. So they got a bunch of roads that lead right to their property. See the gate right there. It's a nice setup. So right now we're on the Florida National Scenic Trail, the southern tip of the Ocala National Forest. That's all you need to know. The Florida Trail in the opposite direction runs over 60 miles. I think it's 67 miles from where I parked to this lake that it runs into. And I eventually would like to do that. My next endeavor on this part of the trail is to do a point-to-point, and I'll just have to get somebody to drop me off. Drop off my car at the finish, and then take me back to the trailhead nearest our house. And then I'm gonna do a long point-to-point, because I don't out and backs are fun, but I'd rather just keep it moving. The thought of running out 25 30k and then having to turn around and run back the same 20 30k that you just ran doesn't really appeal to me. So this is 67 miles. I don't think that I'll do the whole 67 miles, but I'll do a pretty long point-to-point, probably about a third of it. Because it does get slow. A lot of this trail is not used. But I'm going to say adieu, au revoir. Au revoir. You'll see me again. And it's been about 30 minutes, 31 on the counter. And again, it's a hot July day, July 3rd, 2022. I'm doing a little 10k walk. So I got a little over 2 kilometers to go. If my calculations are correct, I came out on a little bit of a different trail. I use this whole Florida trail. Used part of the mountain bike trail to go north. So I think I timed it about right. And I'm testing out the new Vivobarefoot trail shoes. The bubblegum soles, navy upper. They, like I said, my foot feels loose, but I've heard that is gonna be the case until your foot kind of flattens out. So this is where that bike trail intersects. So see, this is the way that I took coming out. So I should have maybe 2.5 kilometers at the most to get back, depending on how windy this part is. Just looking at the trails, because I didn't come down this trail. It's mostly critter trails. All right, I'll talk to you later.